Welcome to the Agenda on Campus TV, your most authoritative political platform that provides a space for activists to contribute their quota towards national development from the educational perspective. I remain your favorite host, Frederick Brooks. And you can also follow our social media handles, Campus TV GH on Facebook, Campus TV on YouTube, and campus.tv on Instagram. We're taking a short breather. When we come back, I will introduce to you my guest for today. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. So you are still live on the Agenda on Campus TV. As I told you, after the short bit, I'll be introducing to you, my guest for today's program. We have wonderful personalities in the studios today. We have the communication team member of the NDC, that's synonymous to TAIN, Mr. Patrick, and I also have with me here Mr. WADIE, who is also a communication team member of the NPP, that's synonymous to TESCON. Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm good, Mr. Brooks.
WADIE, how are you doing?
I'm splendid, Mr.
You people look so tension. Do you have fights already before you came to the studio?
No, of course not. We don't.
We are very, very good.
We are very good.
Okay, so today,
can divide us.
definitely, I love that. Today we'll be talking about the NDC Manifesto. Last week we spoke about the NPP Manifesto after the launch of it, and we see it's very prudent to also discuss the NDC Manifesto. I'll start with you, Patrick. We've heard something called the Big Push. What is the Big Push all about?
I'd like to first of all say a very good evening to your viewers all over Ghana, and a very good evening to the people of Agotime constituency. Yeah, my people, that's where I hear from. That's where everything started from. So I'm always grateful to the people of Agotime constituency. I want to say a very good evening to yourself and my brother from the other party.
Mention the name of the party. Interesting.
And a very good evening to my own father, my own boss, lawyer Ediji Tamakolo. I want to say a very good evening to that special lawyer that God has given to the NDC. The NPP always wish they have lawyer Ediji Tamakolo, but God knows. He might end up being a criminal or being one.
Please, can we go straight to the Big Push?
For the betterment of
that's interesting.
Brooks, NDC is a party for the people. We believe in the bottom-up approach. It basically talks about starting from the market square, starting from the village square, to the lawyers, to the doctors, to the app. That's what we mean by the bottom.
Just reiterated the words of the parliamentary candidate for NDC. Yeah.
Where he even John Dramani Mahama also said that at our manifesto launch.
Okay.
Brooks, few months ago, the NDC embarked on what we call listening to the people, what they want to hear and what they want the government to do for them. Several years, we put our manifesto together by sitting in our offices in our air conditions and deciding what we want to do for the people, but we refuse to ask the people what they want us to do for them. So this year, the NDC thought it twice to go to the people and seek their views. How do you want to be governed? What do you want to see in your localities? We went to them. Our colleagues from the NPP were like, NDC, we don't have anything for the people. We lack ideas and everything. Little did they know that we are bringing a second constitution of Ghana into being. When we started the first constitution of Ghana, the NPP wasn't in support of it, so they boycotted it. The Down Cambodian tradition boycotted the constitution. So we went back to the people again. 20 years plus after we came for the constitution, we are back again with the People's Manifesto. What do you want to see? We came to you, give us the perfect ideas that are in our constitution now. What do you want to see in the next 4 years in Ghana? Because we all want to see the Ghana where we build big hospitals, we build big roads. Now accidents is all over the places. And we want roads that to prevent accidents from our roads, from happening in the country. So we went to the people gave us their ideas and what they want to see. And we sat down, we put all of what they gave us together, and we came about our People's Manifesto, a manifesto that is for the people and by the people. And when we come into power on 7th January 2021, you will see how we roll up the manifesto. Very quick, very fantastic ideas. We brought up the Big Push in our manifesto. The Big Push is only about infrastructure. Ghana lacks the necessary infrastructure. Brooks, you take from Accra to Kumasi. In the 21st century, we still use only one system road where one car is passing, one car is coming. That ends it. Go to China, they have one of the biggest road networks. 50 lane going, 50 lane coming. That is how we want to see Ghana. Are you impressed about the accidents happening in Ghana? Is my brother also impressed about the accidents happening in Ghana day in, day out? No. These are some of the ways to cut down these accidents happening on our roads. That's what's happening.
Yeah, Patrick, but not to cut you short. I mean, people would say that during the 2016, after, His Excellency, the former president, won the election, he also contributed his quota to the infrastructural development of this country.
Very, very
and still lost the elections.
Sure.
Here we go again with a big push. Don't you think Ghanaians actually expect something different from what happened from 2016 to,
Brooks, you are a living witness that the NDC didn't sit in our offices to compile our manifesto. We went to the people. We knew what the people wanted. We have options for jobs in the manifesto. That's why we have some things called the maternity leave that will increase to 4 months for the women. We have other things in the manifesto. But you are referring to the big push. So I'm talking about the big push first. Then we delve into other sectors in the manifesto. Because the manifesto is not all about the big push. We have things like the legalization of the Okada for our brothers and sisters in that business. We have things like employing the backlog.
The legalization of the Okada, is it captured in your manifesto?
It's in our manifesto.
Fantastic.
It's in our manifesto. We think about the people. We went to them, they said, yes, we want you to legalize the Okada for us. We sat and realized that this is something nice. Other countries have done it. Rwanda and the developed countries have done it. We can also do it. We shouldn't limit ourselves to bring so much traffic. No, that's not how we go. Coming back to the big push. The big push talks about infrastructure, basically. We are putting about 10 billion into infrastructure in this country. Previously, from 2012 to 2016, Ghana had less than 100 billion in our coffers. The loans John Dramani Mahama took wasn't up to 100 billion before 2016 election. But we've seen so much infrastructure across the country. We've seen the Legon Hospital. We've seen the dualization of the road. We've seen a lot of roads in this country. Eastern Corridor Road was massively constructed. We've seen a lot of schools. The E-Blocks, Dome Kwabenya, Frafraha.
Okay, so Patrick, a shift away from the big push.
Sure.
We all, understand that one of the reasons why Ghanaians voted against His Excellency, the former president, John Dramani Mahama, was the fact that they felt that he was not able to tackle the economy in a manner that he was supposed to. People were talking about the level at which the inflation rates were, flying all over, and also his inability to make sure that financial deficits were actually pegged at a minimum rate, and also the public deaths were just flying up. The numbers kept shooting. Don't you think that people are interested in seeing an NDC government that is able to safeguard an economy that can boost investment, confidence, and all that?
Brooks, for how long have the NPP ruled since they came to power?
They are almost 4 years.
4 years. How long don't Dramani rule as a president of the Republic of Ghana?
For himself, I would say he had one term, and also he had to help Atameos with.
Here you are talking about public debts. Forgetting to ask yourself how much John Dramani Mahama added to the public debts as of 2016 before he left power. Less than 60 billion. How much did he?
But he was a vice president.
No, I'm talking about
so he was with Atameos.
Sure.
Late Professor Atameos.
Put all the debts from 2009 to 2016. It's not up to 60 billion. 8 years of NDC government, the debt wasn't up to 60 billion.
But it's an accumulated sequential something. So
accepted. That's what I'm telling you. I'm giving you the years. From 2016 to 2020, we have about 130 billion as a debt. Is this what we call prudent management of our economy? Is this what we want to see in the next 4 years of our government?
I think I have to go to. I have to go to.
In 8 years,
I think I have to go to WADIE.
Who can manage this economy in just less than 4 years with 130 billion with nothing to show?
Yes.
We have toilets all over the country. Is that what they use 130 billion
for? Mr. WADIE, your party has always stated that when it comes to holding the economy, safeguarding the economy, the NDC remains incompetent. They say that the NDC can't bring remedies to what the country needs, I mean, in terms of economics or the economy. What are you saying to, as you've seen the outdooring of the NDC Manifesto, you've seen them talking about broad macro fiscal target, that is talking about the inflation rates, also pegging an inclusive and sustainable GDP growth, and also making sure that they have a maximized level of public debt. I mean, they are talking about structures and also policies that is going to safeguard our pension, I mean, guys and all that. Don't you think that the NDC had learned from its mistakes and now it's coming in with something more dynamic? What's your position on that?
All right. Thank you, Brooks, for the question. First of all, I'd like to give a good evening to
Sure.
your viewers and yourself and the people, the good people of Ayawaso West constituency, who come December 7th, we strongly believe would back our honorable incumbent member of parliament, Madam Lydia Sarah Malhassan. I also want to give a good evening to herself, Honorable Lydia Sarah Malhassan, and give her family a good evening as well. All right, so to dive into the matter at hand, it is strange that a party that 4 years ago was touting itself as the big infrastructural giants of Africa, and the party that saw itself as the guys who have changed the country to infrastructure and can win an election to infrastructure, and managed to lose an election that year, and then 4 years later have jumped forward into the future, and we are now here, and they are coming again with the exact same promises that they gave before, that the entire economy of Ghana is going to be backed or pushed by big infrastructural projects or big infrastructural agenda. I remember I came across a gentleman, one of their communicators, a teen communicator. He was comparing the big push to FDR's, that's Franklin Roosevelt's big push after the the Big Depression in America. He was making that comparison between the two and saying that
that's some great sociological thoughts here.
That's very fascinating. I was fascinated by it. That's what he saw it as being. But it's strange because at that time, the country had just gone through a recession, had gone through an economic draw, and the circumstances within which the American government was in comparison to our system now, the focus or the overarching focus on infrastructure.
So you are saying with the fact that in this narrative, the president is doing well, so there is nothing to salvage.
There's very little to salvage. Do you understand?
Okay.
And the NPP in its manifesto, our promise to the Ghanaian people was that we are going to create jobs, livable working wage jobs that will last. That will last. Infrastructure projects might seem like a good idea in the interim, in the short term.
Sure.
But projects won't last forever.
Okay.
Building a road from Accra to Kumasi is going to take, let's say it's going to take 6 months. For the 6 months, people are employed.
Okay.
But what about the next 6 months?
Okay.
What do we look for there?
Right.
And the promise of the NPP is that we are going to focus on the industry, on the industrial base of the country. I listened to a report by a female doctor at the School of Economics.
Okay.
University of Ghana School of Economics.
Okay.
She made the comparison between the Ghanaian economy and then the foreign economy.
Okay.
She drew a dichotomy that within the American economy, the focus for creating jobs was mostly based around the industry, the industrial base of the country, boosting the industrial strength of the country within that period, within the 1800s, within the early 1900s.
Sure.
That led to the growth of the American economy, and then the extraction of resources from the country being refined.
Providing it's a fundamental basis
to boost the country.
Sure.
Do you understand?
Sure.
Just picking up only the industrial as the infrastructure aspect of the American economy and trying to replicate that in Ghana without looking at the key differences between
we end up feeding on the capital.
We end up feeding on the capital. Do you understand? And long-lasting jobs are not necessarily created only through the infrastructure. There must be a strong industrial base within the country. Do you understand? When you listen to Dr. Baumia's submission during the launch,
but not to cut you short, I think one of the allegations made by the opposition party, I mean, I heard it from the leader or the leadership of the NDC. They are stating that the Nana Addo administration can't boast of a single senior high school, I mean, being established. They are saying that he is just, I mean, cutting sort for KVIPs and the rest.
It is very, very strange for them to make this analogy. We don't need to create new ones. If there are currently existing school, existing institutions, we can expand those institutions to take in more people. If you go to almost every senior high school across the country, you'll find that at least they are constructing one unit classroom blocks, one big block to house students. If you go to Labone SHS, you see when you enter the school building, the school premises, on the left, there's a big 12-unit classroom block being constructed to aid and facilitate the changeover from the double track system into into the mainstream system. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That was the push of the government, that we don't need to create new ones. If the existing ones and there's land available, why don't you just expand it?
But so Mr. Wadie, would you agree? Would you agree that if we had adequate educational facilities, I mean, double track system wouldn't have been so necessary to be an alternative?
Good.
And even if we had relatively smaller number, it means that we could even run a quadruple, track system. Don't you think, with the fact of you saying that we don't need to expand the educational facilities, defeats even the purpose of the double track? It's as if that the double track has come to stay, and the focus on expanding the infrastructures or the facilities are now not being taken care of. What do you think about that?
Listen to me clearly.
Yeah.
The point I made was that the established in their own rights in the early 2015s thereabouts, they made a claim that they were constructing 200 school buildings across the country.
Yes.
The E-blocks.
Yes.
The famed E-blocks that they were constructing.
Yes.
At the time we came into office, only about 59 buildings had been constructed at various stages or were at various stages of completion.
Yes.
At that time.
Yes.
And if the claim then was that we are going to expand it, we are going to expand and create more classroom blocks, and why is it that that's the case that in 2016, when you came into power, we had to go back for double track? If they had already expanded
that's why I'm stating a case that if the number was relatively smaller than what you came to meet, then quadruple tracking system would have been necessary. And I'm sure because the number relatively grew up, the number of educational facilities we have, that is why we were able to even run a double track. I am coming in with this because you are saying that there is no need as it stands now to even expand it.
So my point is that even aside that, within our manifesto, within the 2021 to 2025 manifesto, we are seeking to establish at least 16 classrooms, 16 school buildings, a senior high school buildings across the country, within each region, to at least help with the deficit in infrastructure we have, at least in that within that time, within the next 4 years, to establish those as well. And then as well, we are seeking to expand, to continue the expansion of almost all the schools that are across the country, to ensure that the double track system is we go back to the old system, we're able to go back to the old system and run it efficiently. Because
we are able to go back to the previous system where it's just a single track. I'm putting a question.
Yes.
That is just a single track.
Yes.
So you are stating, right on this platform, that the position of the NPP is that they don't see the double track to be something sustainable, and one day they'll be going back. One day they will be going back. then I think this points out some of the predicaments the leadership of the NDC was bringing out. I mean, they stated that the double track system had brought a lot of inefficiencies in especially the lives of these young ones, and they are stating that teenage pregnancies and some of these social vices, these kids are, I mean, exposed to them. Don't you think that you are sharing a position of the NDC in stating that the double track system could be abolished? Because the NDC is stating that when it's given the power, I mean, to have the mandate to lead this country again, they are going to abolish the double track system and make sure that the free SHS policy is run properly. Don't you think you are sharing the same sentiments of the NDC?
All right. So you have to remember that at the start of the free SHS project and at the start of the double track project, it was never meant for double track to remain a permanent aspect of our educational system. It was supposed to be a temporary measure to ensure that the maximum number of students are allowed to go to schools. So it means we need more schools, or pardon? So it means we need more schools? Not necessarily. We need schools, all right. We do need schools, all right. Okay. But we need infrastructure in the currently existing schools to ensure that the project can run efficiently.
So that the smaller ones that we have is able to, yes. I mean,
if there are already existing projects within the country, if there are already existing schools within the country, why not expand them? Why not ensure that maximum number of people can go to those schools and can have a good education?
You make them quality before even concentrating on the quantity.
Other ones. I think
I'm coming. Let me wrap up. I mean, you have 30 seconds to wrap up. Then Patrick will come.
With that in mind, with that particular thought in mind, we still also want to expand at least to some communities that do not have those senior high schools. Around 16 of them will be facilitated, will receive senior high schools within their localities to ensure that the people there can attend those schools. Quality senior high schools, well-constructed ones with all amenities in them, not like the E-blocks that do not have hostel facilities or housing facilities for the students.
Okay, so you are focusing on the quality on the quality aspect of it.
Yes, we cannot Wow. You build a school. Imagine you live somewhere like let's say East Legon, and then the school is being constructed somewhere in La Paz. You have to go from La Paz to East Legon, and imagine this: you are outside Accra. You're not even within a place with quality.
Patrick, I'm coming to you. Patrick, I'm coming to you. Patrick, I'm coming to you.
Community schools might be good, but in this case we are concerning the schools in rural areas, where oftentimes the case where people don't have the access between the communities and then the schools involved.
Okay, Mr. Wade, you come in again. Patrick, we are coming to this. He mentioned a lot, and I know where you want to tackle, but then there are some, I mean, good cases that he made. I think they are fantastic. He is stating that not necessarily, I mean, increasing the number of our facility just because we need schools. We have to make sure that the existing ones are made to run properly, and I think that is a very substantive issue to, I mean, make on this show.
We live in a country where we all pay taxes to the government. Nobody pay tax to his or her political parties. There are some communities in this country who are even here to see a classroom block for even learners with KG and primary schools. Are you telling me that we should expand Achimota and somebody from Volta region, Nkoko, who doesn't have a community day school, shouldn't have a community day school because they have expanded Achimota?
By the way,
we have an Nkoko in the Volta region.
Wow.
Yes, now it's now in Oti region, Nkoko.
Really?
Beside them,
that's so enlightening.
Yes, so you shouldn't be here pretending to know all my region.
I am surprised.
Well, we need to take a tour.
What part of the?
It's currently in our region. Beside Dambai.
Okay, so
we have a scope over there. So don't talk
impressive. I'm fascinated by this. Okay, I'll do something like
we have some communities in this country. Communities like Fafaha who have never seen a senior high school in their life before. Are you telling me that we should expand Accra Academy and leave Fafaha without having a senior high school? In any case, the community, the free SHS we are going, not everybody will love to be in a boarding system. Some are in the day schools. Why won't you build these day schools in communities whereby they can work from their parents' house and go to schools like how the junior high schools operate?
Okay.
Are you telling me every school should be made in a boarding system in this country? No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. We all see people who love to be in the day schools. Okay. When Mahama was building a community day school, he didn't say a community senior high school. He was very specific, categorical. That these were day schools. That is nobody who have a boarding facility there for the students.
Okay.
For any case, you are yet saying that we built only 56 senior high school. My goodness, with less than $60 billion, we have been able to build 59 community day schools in this country.
I said, I didn't say built. I said 20 were completed. The rest were under construction. Contracts were given out to people to build day schools in village.
I think he's completed 20 schools in this country.
But you accept that he made the fact that I mean the rest were in various stages of completion.
Accepted.
Okay.
Various stages. That means it has been started. Even 20 was even complete. He said 20 was complete. Let me bring it
various stages can be clearing of the land to putting up a foundation.
Let's bring the schools down to 10. NDC built 10 senior high schools with just $60 billion. So you had 130 billion Ghana cedi plan. Show us one senior high schools you've completed in your 4 years of government.
It is strange. In my submission, I made clear that if you go to almost every senior high school in Ghana, you would see a project under the
John Dramani Mahama.
In the school across county.
He was expanding the old schools we have.
Which school? What was expanded?
Seminary senior high school, voter with currently they have an agreed block. John Dramani Mahama was the one constructed an agreed block. We are currently having the house 5. The house 5 my senior high school started by John Dramani Mahama. In that same region, we have new day schools.
Okay, Patrick.
Are you telling me that that's the way to go?
Patrick.
For the community day schools, we have quadruple. Tax in this school.
Patrick,
he's happy.
Patrick,
he is now telling us publicly that the double tax system. Patrick,
I feel WADIE's position wasn't on the fact that it's not unnecessary to build schools.
Sure.
I think he was targeting the quality of it.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And I think even aside that, well, let's move to free SHS. But before then, we have to take a short breather. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the short breather. You are still live on the agenda on Campus TV, your most authoritative political platform. I remain your favorite host, Frederick Brooks. I mean, we are moving straight to the exhibition exercise. I think since the Electoral Commission issued a statement stating that there is a need for a compilation of a new voters register, the NDC has demonstrated, agitated, reinstated, reiterated their position that they are against it. Patrick, since we started this exhibition process, we've had a lot of reports from your party. Let's say some Ghanaians who have stated that their names were being erased from the voters register. I would say the exhibited one, the provisional voters register. The leadership of the NDC, I think yesterday, the leader of the opposition party, the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, stated that he had to even go to Bono region to safeguard some kind of campaign antics. But then because of this kind of prevalent, unfortunate, development, he would have to come back to Accra to make sure that these things are being addressed. He also promised that there is going to be an official press conference by the NDC. What is your position on that? The EC has stated that there is no indication of foul play, and the NDC is just nagging. What's your position on that?
Brooks, Ghana is for us all and not for a few group of people. So we are all stakeholders in the processes that lead to an election. You can go and campaign to everybody. The whole Ghana will be interested in voting for the NDC. But if we don't pay attention to some of the things the EC and the NPP government are doing, we might end up plunging this country into a civil war. Brooks, It has never happened.
Don't you think you're exaggerating? I mean,
I'm coming, relax. It has never happened since 1992 that we've had a register, a new register compound, or let's see, how do we call this one? The limited registration.
Yeah,
compound.
And the revised.
Yes,
I mean,
and we've used 8 days for the exhibition exercise, just because people have registered in places of the country where they don't stay. So after registration, they might move out of where they are staying. They might come back and check and go back and all those things. It will take more than 8 days for some of them to do it. Fine, they've introduced a short code system, as people might say. People have checked with the short code. It has given them wrong information. They went to the exhibition centers and they had different information also there. That's one. Secondly, EC has a committee that it reports to, and the committee, gives EC plans about how they want our electoral process to go. I'm talking about the IPAC.
But IPAC does not really participate in a technical framework of the Electoral Commission.
The EC is a body that has autonomy to do what is being tasked to do by the Constitution and the people of
Absolutely.
IPAC was a formation by the EC. IPAC was in existence for over 20 years since the EC was established. There has no ally that backs the IPAC. But we all are witness to the fact about the changes the IPAC have made in our electoral process in this country. So you can't do away with the IPAC as an EC, as an electoral body, because we are major stakeholders in the electoral process of the country. We've finished the registration a few months ago. It's time for exhibition. Electoral offices around the country are printing cards for people we have no knowledge about.
Do you have evidence?
We have pictorial and video.
You can't show me just a video to say that you have an evidence.
The EC have written a communique about the video we had a press conference and talked about.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, about one of their greater Accra offices printing new cards for people.
And what did they say about? In the press release?
The EC was saying that they are aware of the printing of the cards and they have ordered their offices to print the cards for people who are duplicate registration. Since when can the EC sit on in its offices and order cards without the knowledge of the political parties in this country? Since when did that one start?
But if they are sorting out the credible or eligible voters from people who have duplicated records in the data, is it wrong?
Did the EC furnish the NDC with the number of people who have duplicate registrations? Because we are stakeholders in the electoral process. You must give us the number of people who have duplicates, their names, their polling stations, where they vote, where they've registered that they had a duplicate. Because the duplicate is the doing of the incompetence of the EC. You have a biometric system that can duplicate people's registrations. Is that what you're telling me?
But Patrick, you do agree with me that this is not the very first time we are compiling a voters register.
That's why we
in exhibition exercises like this.
Things happen.
We are expectant of this kind of unfortunate things.
Let me tell you.
What's the difference?
We are advancing on technology. That's why we were being told that now we are using facial recognition and things in our system, and therefore the BVR kits that the Charlotte Osei EC have used is not what they are being used at the Jimensa EC. Accepted. Some of these reasons are the reason why Jimensa told us that they want to use a new system for the registrations. So you can't use this same system and start giving up things that happen in the process. That means they are not.
The Electoral Commission has the mandate and the discretion to tell us as to how they want to make sure this election is run properly.
That we've wasted over 1 billion Ghana cedi on a system that have duplicated.
To them, they are not wasting their money because they are making sure that they are putting in place measures that will make sure that we have a very democratic electoral process.
That's a question. Yes. I know I'm not supposed to be asking questions on your show.
Sure.
But some of these problems, duplication of cards, missing fingerprint and things, necessitated the compilation of the new register according to the NPP and the EC. So how come after the registration we still have these problems after we've wasted?
Don't you think that is why every ruling government or the Electoral Commission make provision or reservation for exhibition exercises to be held?
I can't sit here and pretend as if the EC can go about this registration 100%.
That's right.
We can have missing names in the register.
Okay.
But I am telling you that a constituency like that, Shama constituency, The parliamentary candidate can't find his name on the register.
I mean, being a parliamentary candidate doesn't make any difference from a citizen.
So. Some polling stations had over 1,000 names. When it was time for the exhibition, we had about 120 names to be exhibited. Go to Honorable Sam John's constituency.
Over
thousands of names were missing on the register. Is this how we go about in
and to you feel it's a calculated or just deliberate attempt to disenfranchise people?
Some of us thought the EC should disgrace us in a way of doing their things that Ghanaians would be like, we predicted all these things, but it didn't come to pass. The EC is just coming today to prove to Ghanaians that the NDC was right in everything we were saying from the beginning. Because you can't tell me today that as a Ghanaian and as a stakeholder in the process leading to an election, the EC can go into its offices, issue cards to people without the knowledge of the political parties in this country. It is unlawful. It is never held off. If you, Brooks, currently, the Cape Coast North parliamentary candidate.
Yeah, be wrapping up anyway.
The Cape Coast North parliamentary candidate of the NDC, Swagger, or Raga as we all know him.
You have 30 seconds to end.
Raga as we all know him was challenged by the EC that he is not an indigene of the constituency, so he can't register as a voter there. They sent the issue to court. It took people like Edujita Makulu to go into the court and fight for Raga. Raga has won his case today, so he can now stand as a parliamentary candidate, accepted. He must be registered. Am I lying? The day Raga will do his registration at the EC office, after the court has given him the go-ahead, NPP, CPP, all the political parties must have their rep at the EC office before Raga can go ahead and register. That is how fantastic our electoral system is. Just one person, Raga. When he wants to register, all the political parties, their agents must be there before Raga registers. So can you tell me on authority today that the EC has the mandate in this country to go about printing cards to people that we know nothing about? What image of the people that they are printing the cards for are duplicate cards? Because we have heard and we know on authority that some of the cards they are printing are people who have not registered. They are re-registering them in their offices. They are not people who have duplicate cards. Well, see, we are told we have about 6,028 names who have duplicate cards in this country. Do you know their names?
We'll be coming to you shortly. We'll be coming to you shortly.
Should this thing continue?
We'll be coming to you shortly.
We will march on the streets, and if it is gun that we use to fight them, we will fight them with the
I think that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. This undermines the democracy. Yes. So if you are talking about democracy and you are talking about guns, Mr. Wadie, let's move to Mr. Wadie. Mr. Wadie, I mean the National Democratic Congress, the leadership of the party, the flag bearer of the NDC has stated that the NPP, I mean in collaboration with the Electoral Commission, have embarked on a plan that is calculated, deliberate, attempt to make sure that voters, eligible voters of the country are disenfranchised from voting. I mean, we've seen footages around that we can't say exclusively that they depict whatever position the NDC holds. But to you, as a communicator of the NPP, what do you say about such footages?
All right. Thank you, Books, for the question. I am shocked, to say the least, that a person, a young man from the National Democratic Congress can boldly on national television rant and shout and tout himself as being an enlightened person, but is willing to take on a gun and enter the streets. And
we strongly take objection and condemn that statement.
It is benign.
Allow him.
I am shocked.
Allow him.
I am shocked.
No, Patrick, allow him.
I am lost.
Allow him.
That's a young man, a young educated Ghanaian can stand on boldly on national television and shout and tout himself as willing to take a gun and enter the streets and shoot people because he feels and has heard and has been and propaganda has entered his mind so much that he feels that he has to enter.
Patrick, please, don't
enter the streets.
Allow him.
It is beyond the doubt. If your party flag bearer was able to stand on stage and tell you that our party was bet out of violence and that we are capable of violence and we are better at violence, then I understand this. Then I understand this fully. if your party can, if your flag bearer can stand on national television and see that, and then you can, then I understand where you are coming from.
Yes,
I understand fully well. And if Ghanaians are willing to listen, if Ghanaians can sit there and Ghanaians can listen to this and vote for
Mr. Patrick, let's make sure we contain this topic. I mean, Mr. Wadie, shifting from that narrative.
Issues there.
Yes.
Since the beginning of this entire registration process, the NDC at every step of the way has tried to interject the EC's mandate in trying to establish a fair democratic election come December 7th. Every step of the way, taking to court, going through court, sitting with communicators on national radio stations, lambasting the EC, insulting the EC, demonstrating up and down, blocking major streets to just chant and make noise, just to cause chaos within the country. And at every step of the way, they have been stopped. Every step of the way, they have been their actions have been stopped. If you've gone so far and then every step of the way, every decision you've taken has ended in failure, why don't you surrender? Why don't you give up? Why don't you why don't you
talk to the facts?
Gentlemen,
Paddy, he wasn't heckling you. You have to be fair to him. He wasn't heckling you, so I have to allow him.
In your conversation, in your rant.
That's true.
Every step of the way, they've interjected the EC and its decision and its capacity to do the work that has been given to by the Constitution of Ghana and by the CIA that establishes it. Through parliament, through the courts, through civil disobedience, through noise, through chaos, attempts at creating chaos. They have interjected every step of the way. Through violence at registration centers that are championed by Azoka boys and whatnot. But we are not talking about that. We are not talking about that. We are not.
We'll come to you, Patrick, about that.
We are not talking about that.
No. I think you are just building a point. But Mr. Wadie, Patrick, please allow. Patrick. Mr. Wadie, I would want you to tackle that particular footage that we saw going on. I think because people are actually building a lot of meanings into that.
Let's tackle that.
Yeah, very substantial.
Audiovisual files that have been sent around indicating that the EC was printing voters' ID cards for people.
Yes,
are being perceived by the National Democratic Congress as a conspiracy by the government and then the EC to sit down and rig the December 7th elections. They are all false. They are false.
Okay, so they are not true.
The EC has come out with a statement stating clearly that 6,028 people had their voters' ID, their numbers, being duplicates between different people from different parts of Ghana.
Okay.
And this verification exercise was done to ensure that these people could be fished out, could be found out, and their cards reprinted for them to allow them to register come December 7th, to allow them to vote come December 7th. And that was the purpose. That was the reason, one of the reasons behind the verification exercise that is being done. And we now have the story by the National Democratic Congress that we are conspiring, we are holding secret meetings and printing cards for people and making decisions for trying to cause chaos in the country. Meanwhile, they themselves, at every step of the way, have interjected the EC's work with lies, with malice, with everything they've done so far is to stall the process, to put the process of registration down. And it is false. Everything they've done, if Ghanaians have seen what they are trying to do, have seen that every decision they've tried to take has been to stop this. Why don't you think the Ghanaians will vote against you? Don't you think Ghanaians will vote against you? Won't vote against you?
Few days.
6,008. So no, wait. In 2016, when they lost the election by over 900,000 vote margin. If you feel that way, 6,000 people would be around 1.something% of that total loss. And again, they'll lose that by that margin or even a larger margin come December 7th.
Ghanaians are
by a bigger margin, by a bigger margin come December 7th. They know it's going to happen. But they have to make noise. They have to agitate. They have to make noise so that they can feel that they are allowing something for Ghanaians. It is strange. We've come to discuss a matter. So you are speaking to the matter as an educated Ghanaian young man who has been through the education system of Ghana and has felt the peace of the country. Has lived in a peaceful country of all his life and feels that December 7th we have to fight, we have to go into the street and take guns and shoot people. And it is amazing. I am lost.
I think we'd have to come to Patrick. No, Patrick, just make clarity to that. Yes, make clarity. It's very substantial to make.
It is strange.
But we must fight.
Okay. It is strange.
I was very clear.
Okay.
Your viewers can attest to that.
Okay.
I said if the EC will continue with this agenda to rig the election in favor of Mr. Nana Dankwa.
So prove without reasonable doubt that there is no way. You went to court twice, and you were bounced both times. At Parliament, you were bounced both. And you are standing here.
The decision of the court.
You are not in support of it.
Yes. We have the right.
I think with a viral video. No, what they said is they are not true. The position of the NDC.
No, my position was that the explanation of the EC. Has proved without reasonable doubt, and we believe the EC that it's the competent body mandated by law to carry out an electoral process. And we feel that we accept the decision of the EC concerning that matter.
Yes, and
concerning the length of the the voter verification process, we also feel that at this point we have to extend the period a little to allow for people.
Yes, Patrick, coming to that, don't you think it will be very unfair to the government, to the Electoral Commission, not to factorize the pandemic into this narrative, because we are not in our normal times, where the Electoral Commission, you expect them to work freely and also appropriately, not to use the word appropriately, but then work, effectively. It's not the normal Electoral Commission that we have when we did not have any pandemic to fight.
Brooks, if you were the Electoral Commission of Ghana, yes, and you realize that you found yourself in a pandemic where person-to-person contact can even cause somebody to get the coronavirus, would you have allowed this country to go into a regime?
But you understand democracy too must be practiced.
I'm just asking a question. Would you have allowed that?
Go on.
You wouldn't have allowed it. Accepted. We are done with the registration process. You've now realized that the strongholds where you plan to take the will of the people by disenfranchising them, most of them have registered with anger to vote out the government. So what are you supposed to do?
That's interesting.
You were sitting here quiet.
You started quiet. You knew very well that we're in a pandemic, but you allowed us to go and register.
I remember they were about to do it. Claiming that we see a rise and people in the streets.
On a lighter note,
it didn't happen.
But Patrick, on a lighter note, I want to trivialize it. Did you just say that you were sitting down quietly?
Yeah, I was very.
I'm surprised. I will go. Oh, okay. So
allegations people that during this period are not
that as educated person as I am, I said I was going to fight the EC again. I said, should the EC continue to rig this election for
rig how? Prove without reasonable doubt. Go to court again.
I think according to him, the viral footage is a representation.
Wow. One event is being to judge the national verification process.
Have you checked your name, Suf? Have you checked your name?
I've checked.
When you went there, have they given you a BVR kit to check your fingerprints?
No. The lady just went through.
Who does this exhibition without bringing the BVR kit?
So in 2012, when it was being done, was it done with the BVR kit?
Yes! It was
not done with the BVR kit. It was not done with the BVR kit. It was done with the BVR kit. It was done with, you go there, they check your name, they take.
It's a lie.
That's all they did.
Let the producers check.
Let the producers check.
They can go online and verify.
Yes, I have a very competent production team. They will work on that.
that you can't do exhibition exercise without the BVR kit. What if 7 December 2020 you go there and something happened to your fingerprint?
Okay, I think that Mr. Patrick was stating with fact that during the previous compilation of the new voter strategy, BVDs were used in verifying even during the exhibition processes to show whether you are an eligible voter or you are in due course to participate in that particular election. I think that did not sit well with you, Mr. Wadie. You are stating that what they are doing now is what they did way back, and it doesn't need any sense of like criticizing what is happening, because you feel that is the precedent that you are following. Are you so sure that way back there were no BVDs, and even if way back there were no BVDs, Mr. Wadie, do you think that eliminating BVDs, in a biometric process, ensuring that people are eligible or people are good to go to vote in an election is a good one?
Okay, to speak to that matter, I'm speaking from memory.
Okay.
I remember the process back then in 2012 and how it was done. So I'm giving my experience at that time that I did not go through a biometric process.
Okay.
Do you understand? And to speak to the broader subject.
Okay.
Every step of the way, the NDC has had a problem with the EC, believing that a grand conspiracy is going against them that is going to be used to rig the election. But
you have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds.
Time and time again, through courts, through parliament, through all the records they caused, the exercise was managed to go through. Based on the competence of the EC at that time, the competence of the EC at that time,
they are very incompetent.
The work they've done, the good work of the good work the people of the commission have done. Wow, I'm impressed by the EC. Kudos to them and to the work they are doing so far.
Mr. Wadie, since we are running out of time, your final words to your listeners, your supporters, the leadership of your party.
So to our loyal NPP members, we, the New Patriotic Party, in our resolve, in our belief, in the ideology of creating a development of the country through the freedom, through allowing freedom of trade, freedom to own property and whatnot. I believe that come December 7th, based on this document, based on this beautiful book, based on the good work that the New Patriotic Party has done.
Now you believe in books.
Will vote for us come December 7th, and that the good people of Ayawaso West Bogon constituency will cast their votes in favor of the bulldozer, a strong woman, Madam Honorable Siriam Al-Hassan, and for the good work she has done within our constituency, for the roads, for the bridges, for the COVID support program, for the scholarship grants, for whatnot, the good work they have done for them, and leave these people. Come December 7th. So
Mr. Wadie is saying that Ayawaso West, being spearheaded by Honorable Hassan. So leave these people. I think he's talking about the NPP. Okay, I think that is the final words, and we just leave.
Top down, bottom up, micro-econs.
Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who is the President of the Republic of Ghana. He was the President of the Republic of Ghana, and he will be the President of the Republic of Ghana come 7th December.
See, they are confused.
7th January 2021. All he's telling the youth of this country is jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs for all, prosperity for all. We live in a country where corruption has become a new normal, where people engage in corruption every now and then.
So the dead goes telling us this.
We live in a country where the youth of this country have been submerged to NAPCU for 700 cedi. Same people who are doing same job for 2,000, 3,000 Ghana cedi, today people are doing it for 700 cedi. John Dramani Mahama is telling everybody that when he comes back to power,
there's success of NAPCU.
He will make the NAPCU a permanent employment for all people, and he will add more people into the employment sector. John Dramani
if it's bad, why do you want to maintain it? If it is bad, why do you want to maintain it?
Infrastructure is infrastructure. We are
non-permanent jobs.
People are commissioning toilets and want us to clap for them. This is a mediocre kind of project. We are coming to build the roads, to build the schools, the hospitals. We are coming to build more markets for the people of Ghana, so that our market women can also have something better.
You lost with infrastructure.
We are coming
again with infrastructure.
We are telling the that when we come back as nurse, as a nurse as I am, we are
okay. So thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick. Thank you very much. I mean, we are so grateful to have all of you here. Mr. Wadie, thank you for coming on the show. Mr. Patrick, thank you very much for coming on the show today. I mean, I would have to leave you with a quote. I would want to encourage you that whatever you are doing, don't stop, keep doing it. And we have been live on the Agenda on Campus TV, your most authoritative political platform. I remain your favorite host, Frederick Brooks. See you next time, same time, another time. Bye.